WCW Monday Nitro number 193, May 31st, 1999. Bam Bam Bigelow and Dallas Page attacked Raven in a parking lot. Hundreds of fans jumping and shouting all over the place, and security helping them back, but not, breaking up the fight. And they threw him into a dumpster and slammed the big plastic lid onto his head.
I guess he's going to be out for a while.
Apparently.
I don't know why. Rehab? What's going on with Raven?
Maybe he's hurt.
Where's he going?
It may also be they just wanted him out of action for the Angle tonight.
That could have been.
Yeah, he'll be back next week. As I wrote here, recap of all the crap that happened last week.
All right, so we
I'm
had...
not writing it down a second time.
I wrote down a lot of it. Tank Abbott has shown up.
Yeah?
We had Tenay referring it to the Ultimate Fight Championships repeatedly.
Tank Abbott from the Ultimate Fight.
Yeah, and this is Mike Tenay, who usually does not make mistakes. That's a big one. This was not 1993. This was 1999. They've been around for 6 years. He didn't know the name of the Ultimate Fighting Championships.
Just say UFC.
We had Rick Steiner and Tank Abbott getting into a brawl. We had Randy Savage doing a promo. We had a bunch of matches, which I did not bother writing down. But it did, in fact, seem like I missed a year of television. And we didn't. We missed Thunder.
Yeah.
We didn't even miss a Nitro.
No. Yeah. And the announcers cannot stop talking about Tank. So Eddie Guerrero comes out. His first appearance since his car wreck.
Now, before that, they announced it tonight on the show. In a random cage match. It is Sting versus Rick Steiner for whatever belt Rick Steiner has. I've already forgotten.
Well, it wasn't random because Tank Abbott was there.
Why is this match taking place and why is it in a cage?
I guess to ensure that Sting and his monster truck don't show up again.
Huh.
Only it wasn't Sting, it was Lex in a Sting mask. I have no idea. Well, let's see. Eddie Guerrero comes out. His first appearance in his big car wreck. He is nervous. Mm-hmm. He is incredibly humble. It's a fine trait in a human being, poor in a pro wrestler. He talks about the injury he suffered to his liver and his ankle and other things.
And other things. You didn't write this down?
Clearly I didn't.
They show footage from the accident. Eddie's talking about his injuries. A lacerated liver was one of them. Mm-hmm. And another one was a broken head socket.
That sounds bad. Are you sure he didn't say hip?
He may have, but I'm pretty sure he said a broken head socket.
It was hip.
I would like to think.
I don't know.
Socket.
I think he had a broken head socket.
I don't think
that sounds serious.
It's the part where your head screws on.
There's only one socket your head goes in.
Dude, and he broke it. Tilt your mic up, Craig.
Hang on. Are we certain he just said the part where your head screws on?
No, I said that.
With this signal?
Yeah.
Okay.
You ever unscrewed a head?
Can't say that.
Well, what the fuck do you know then?
He's got you there, Vince.
I don't even know what to say.
Prove to me that you don't screw your head on.
I don't.
Well, I know you don't. Have you ever heard the term,
Yes.
He's got his head screwed on straight?
I guess I have.
My dad told me the opposite, but yes.
So
Exactly.
You're saying it's literally true.
Yeah, you screw it on.
When we were born, we come out, the baby comes out, and then the baby's head comes out, and the doctor puts the two together.
Well, no, I can confirm that didn't happen.
Okay.
But I mean, if the head hadn't come out.
If they turn yours the other way, can you get taller?
Yeah, maybe I could, Craig.
Okay.
Maybe your head gets screwed on a little tighter the older you get, so that's why you get shorter as you get older. You'd know about that. All right, where were we?
This is all so much more entertaining than Eddie Guerrero was.
Hey, you know what, though? When Eddie Guerrero first came out, he was being all humble.
Sure.
Fine. He just came back from an injury. He's happy to be alive. But then he's got to, get out of this funk. He never did.
Not on the show.
He remained quiet, humble Edward Guerrero.
So let me just recap quickly what's happened. There was a lot of video packages. Eddie came out and said his piece. And then Tony Schiavone does this. What's happening? We're going to the ring? Let's go to the ring. They couldn't get one segment in before there was a fuck up.
Well, yeah.
Jesus.
Hey, at least we went to the ring. At least we had
Boy,
a wrestling
did
match.
we.
Hey, Hack and Kidman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay?
The Sandman and William Kidman.
At least it was something that you were like, what?
Yeah.
As opposed to,
Okay.
what the fuck? You know what I mean?
I actually do, is the sad
Okay.
thing.
Yeah.
I could not believe my eyes. Hack comes out first. So I'm waiting for Knobs.
No.
Or Bam
Hammer.
Bam, Hammer, one of these other...
Like, I couldn't believe they didn't open with Evan Courageous and Hammer.
Yeah.
They actually gave us something that I wanted to see.
Yeah.
Sure.
Out comes Billy Kidman. So Eddie's, I can't say going off, but he's speaking about how he's glad he knows how to wrestle and doesn't have to do this hardcore shit. And then for a while, they didn't do any hardcore shit. I got to see Billy Kidman and the Sandman treating hammerlocks and headlocks and, the drop toe hold.
Yeah.
When Hack runs across the ring and Kidman goes down and trips him, and Hack goes, thunk. 3 steps. That's how it went down.
Well, you know, Vinny, I don't think this ended in a DQ.
It sure did.
Okay, so it couldn't have been that hardcore a match.
Sure.
So I was baffled when in the middle of this wrestling match, Hack starts throwing a bunch of plunder into the ring. He throws in chairs. He throws in tables. They start doing
Doors.
a hardcore match. Yeah. So I thought, you know what? Maybe this is one of those hardcore matches where they like start out doing wrestling, but then they bring in the plunder. Well, I'm thinking that, and all of a sudden, Hugh Morris runs in for the disqualification. Why was all this plunder allowed?
Don't know.
Why were they allowed to hit each other with a bunch of shit in the middle of this match?
Don't
And
know.
then there's a DQ for a guy running in?
I don't know.
Yeah, it didn't make sense.
So, yeah, Hugh Morris attacked Kidman.
Can they do anything right?
No. Brian Knobs arrives with a trash can, starts whacking on Hack, and Eddie says, "This is wild."
I like where earlier he said, maybe I should stay retired.
I felt very guilty about waking Eddie up from his nap here. Did we mention Tank and his crew coming out in the middle of this match and announcing that he was going to referee the Rick Steiner Sting cage match?
Oh, yeah, he just came out and started talking to the announcers. He said he was going to bring hell with him if they didn't let him ref. I'm like, you're just a dude. What do you mean you're going to ref the main event on Nitro? What are you talking about? And then he did.
So Ric Flair's on the phone.
Now, before you get to that, I have a sad fact that I would like to reveal to the world here.
Uh-oh.
Okay? It was Hack versus Kidman. There was a run-in by Hugh Morris. There was a run-in by Brian Knobs. And Tank Abbott was out there doing an interview. Every single person is alive except Eddie Guerrero.
Yes.
When you look at the guys who were in the ring,
Yeah.
that's astounding.
There's hard living that they've survived. So Flair's on the phone, orders some limousines to take 8 women to his hotel room. Confirms with J.J. Dillon that Randy Savage's top rope elbow is now illegal.
Yeah, it's been banned.
Randy Savage's top rope elbow is now an illegal wrestling move.
He can never use it again.
No, and Flair is sure to insist, I banned it over and over again. It's done.
Well, you know, to be fair to them, he is out of his mind. And they did make it clear in this segment that Flair was gonna ban it on the show tonight.
And then he did.
I never saw him come out and ban it.
I thought I banned it right here.
No, JJ was talking about later.
It only counts if you do it in the ring?
Like Flair's going, well, what segment? And JJ goes, any segment you want. Never happened.
Okay.
So maybe technically it has not been banned yet. Although it was banned last week on the show.
They recapped the Rick Steiner Tank Abbott brawl from Thunder, including Gene telling Tank that Rick Steiner and Sting would be having, quote, a shoot cage match.
That's what he said.
Yeah, well, it's a shoot cage.
I hadn't thought of it that way.
Yeah.
All I could think...
It's not one of those bullshit blue bar cages.
Yeah.
This is a shoot cage.
By the way, Rick Steiner clobbered this guy a couple times.
Tank?
Yeah. And
When this happened, I remember this vividly 2 decades ago. Brian noted, Rick Steiner and Tank Abbott in a real fight would be awesome.
yes.
Yeah.
That is still true.
I'd love to see that fight.
But instead we get Rick Steiner...
We
Sting.
almost saw Tank Abbott Scott Steiner.
Oh.
They had something very resembling a real fight later on.
Yeah.
It was awesome, if I recall correctly.
So Eddie thanks WCW and Eric Bischoff, and when he mentions Eric's name, Heenan and Shivani look at each other like, I can't believe he's thanking Eric. Thanks WCW and Eric for keeping him employed, and he leaves. I believe that they put him out there thinking he'd be out there for a while and realized how bad he was and ordered him to the back immediately.
He got the hook.
He may have.
So you're telling me, Vinny, that you believe that WCW realized that something was not good
and cancel
and
it.
stop doing it.
I understand why you're
Fuck you.
skeptical of this.
Come on, get out of here. You kidding me?
Well, the show was improved when Eddie left.
Fucking Hoovy ends up doing commentary for years.
That was better than this. Miles.
But it was a different kind of horrible.
Sure. Paige and Bam Bam come out for a promo. Paige promises to take out Hulk Hogan permanently next time. They call out Raven and Saturn, and that's it.
They won a World Tag Team title match tonight here on this show.
So, Saturn and Canyon arrived together hours after Raven arrived alone and was beaten.
Right.
Mike Tenay, who, as Canyon noted, is a stooge, says that Paige and Bigelow beat up Raven and sent him to the hospital. So Saturn and Canyon, being normal humans, say, let's go check on our buddy. But then Gene says, wait, they've also challenged you for the tag team titles. And Canyon says, we accept.
Vinny, you're glossing over how awesome this angle is right here. So at the beginning of the show, we have DDP and Bigelow beating up Raven and hitting him with a garbage can lid. Okay? So when Canyon and Saturn arrive, Mike Tenay says, you're never going to believe what happened to Raven.
Right.
He explains it. Saturn says, I told you, Canyon, that we should have gotten here earlier.
Aha.
Canyon says, how was I supposed to know? So then, Tenay notes that they won a tag title match against them tonight, and Canyon goes, you've got it, immediately.
Without checking with Saturn. Without,
This plot is unfolding.
That's some
It
good
is a rare, great storyline in the middle of this shit show.
That's some good sleuth in there, Brian.
Yes.
the announcers talked about nothing for like a minute, and then Kurt Hennig comes out. Says,
Well, I mean, they acknowledged DJ Ran.
Yeah.
It did. Kurt, Hennig
He's
says,
there.
Rap is crap. He's sick of Conan. He's sick of Ray Jr. Goes to confront DJ Ran in the crowd. Bobby Duncombe Jr. is there now, too. So there are two guys talking about how great country music is, wearing cowboy hats in the Houston Astrodome.
Thank you.
Of course they got cheered. You give DJ Rand the count of 3 to leave, and then as soon as they start to count, the director cuts away. It should not be that hard. It really shouldn't. Hennig starts to sing a song, Out Come Conan and Ray Jr. in Astros t-shirts to make sure they're not booed. They jibber-jabbered for a while. They started pushing and shoving. Security separated them. This sucked and was stupid, I wrote.
They sang a song about Texas.
Dude,
in Texas.
This segment was awesome compared to some of the shit on this show.
You're right.
Like the very next match.
Van Hammer versus Evan Courageous.
You know what this was, Vinny?
Terrible.
You know what this was? This was you versus Stoney Edwards. Just a...
Which one am I?
You're Evan Courageous,
Okay.
a green-ass dude who, like, is put in the ring with somebody who's supposed to be the veteran, but is no goddamn good.
Okay.
And I
Stoney
mean that
was-
the nicest way possible to Stoney.
Stoney was green for all different kinds of reasons.
No, yeah, good call.
This match is horrible.
It's very, very
Evan
bad.
was so green. Hammer fucking sucked, but it's his job to lead this dance.
Yeah.
They can't do a fucking thing.
When this match got in the ring, I said, I'm going to be Mr. Brightside. and
Why?
Write down all the good stuff that happened in this match. Here's my list.
I'll tell you.
Okay.
I'll tell you what your list was.
Okay.
Your list consists entirely of the words delayed, middle rope, superplex. And that's it.
Actually, it was Evan Courageous throws a pretty good dropkick.
That's what you got out of this?
That's what I got out of this.
Okay, so two things. Yes, Rob.
Wasn't it last week or the week before that they had Evan Courageous against Rey Mysterio?
Yes.
Which he
Yes.
fucked that up royally as
Yes.
well.
Yep.
And so obviously after watching that, somebody thought it would be a great idea to throw him in with Van Hammer.
Yeah.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Yeah. They decided he needed a real worker. Anyway, there was one delayed middle rope superplex. It was actually pretty good by Hammer. The rest of this was shit.
Van Hammer, to further put off his hippie gimmick, has wrote the word peace on his singlet and then circled and X'd it out.
No peace.
He's all about war.
Anti-peace. All I know is that
What?
that's what he did.
That's what he did. That's
Don't
what
get mad at Craig.
That's what the
I'm not mad at Craig. I'm just wondering why you would have a hippie gimmick but be pro-war.
Well, he's not a hippie gimmick anymore. He's
Right.
whatever the hell. Van
Oh,
Hammer
that's right.
is.
He got his makeover last week.
He was in the
Right.
flock for a while.
I
He was a
see.
hippie, and now he's whatever Van Hammer
This
is.
piece shit wasn't working out for Hammer, so now he's going to embrace war.
Uh,
Apparently.
I guess.
Cool.
All I can add to this is
Start
that
stuff, Rob.
imagine the talent it takes to get in there with a guy half your size and beat the hell out of him and come out of it less over than you were going in.
Right.
This was not a success. Mean Gene brings Roddy Piper out for a promo.
Oh my God. Everybody that wanted the cruiserweights to be pushed. Dean's just killing it for everybody here. Holy fuck.
So Roddy gives a nice, sincere, actually, message for Memorial Day. Then it gets back into the work mode. Says, Ric Flair is not a horseman, he's a gelding. And Dean Malenko is tired of being tied up in a stall. So Malenko comes out. And as he's coming out, Heenan says, these horsemen, since last week when Malenko and Benoit wrestled Flair, they've just been trading angry phone calls and emails and faxes. And when I thought about Ric Flair sitting down to write, type, or perhaps dictate an angry fax
Sure.
and send it to Dean Malenko, and the fact that Heenan wasn't joking and it made sense, that tells you all you need to know about how much the Horsemen sucked on Nitro. Can you imagine Tully Blanchard sending an angry fax? No. He'd insult you, take your own, and destroy your car. So Piper tries to interview Dean. Dean won't speak. I was going to flip my lid. I was going to lose it at Dean coming out for an interview and they're not speaking. And then finally he starts to talk. He says,
You were better off when he was a mute. Holy fuck, this promo.
We didn't walk away from Flair. Flair walked away from us. Flair and Arn come out. And Piper says, no, you will listen to what Dean has to say. And Dean says this is not about Rolex watches or fancy cars.
Flair's checking his Rolex as he's talking.
It's about passing the torch.
Is this fucking promo over yet?
Passing the torch.
Yeah.
That's what I want to hear about.
Yeah.
Flair says you can't handle the torch. Dean pleads his case to Arn. Were the Four Horsemen ever good on Nitro? Going all the way back to Pillman and Benoit back in the day, was there ever a good segment with the Four Horsemen on Monday Nitro?
Oh, yeah, they've been good segments, yeah. But
I don't remember them.
This was not one of them.
I remember them all bickering about who...
Well, Flair's return in
like
Greensboro
Page.
and,
That's one. Okay, you got me there.
We always said, like, Dean Malenko's a robot. Somebody didn't program his promo skills. Somebody forgot that.
I think he was better than Eddie.
Tonight.
Okay.
Tonight. Oh, tonight.
Not usually.
Let me clarify that. On
Yeah.
this specific
Eddie
instance.
Eddie was in such a depression here
Yeah.
that Malenko was better by default.
Yes.
Eddie was coming off an accident.
That's also true. So Dean says he was not going to watch Arn's back. He walks out. Arn follows. Flair and Piper brawl. There's finally some action. People are finally into this. They keep fighting. It's funny. Flair leaves. He gets his ass kicked and leaves. And he notices there's 3 hot women in the crowd.
Yes.
And so they go back over to fight right in front of them some more so Flair can check them out.
Chout me.
See, the problem with all of this stuff in real life is that, the Benoits and the Malenkos, they are just doing the same shit over and over on the show. They're bored. They want to go to Raw. And, Malenko and Benoit had maybe one good match as a team. They just went out there every week and just went through the motions, and it was boring.
Yep.
Benoit can't cut a promo. Dean Malenko can't cut a promo. Meanwhile, Ric Flair just fucking blows everybody away on the mic.
Yeah.
Yep.
He comes out here and brawls with fucking 90-year-old Roddy Piper. They have a great brawl. And as a viewer, we're supposed to think, with this Ric Flair guy out of the main event, and just have Dean Malenko in there as our world champion.
It does not work that way.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
God, I was just watching this go, and this is doing way more harm than good. Malenko's out there. Man, the year 2000 is coming. The only way to get to the year 2000 is to think about the future and not the past. I'm like, dude, give me more of the past.
Past is better.
Not this bullshit interview.
Not to mention, if this was a real sport, wouldn't
Win!
you? Yeah. If you want the torch passed to you, beat guys and take it.
Yeah, it's like this shit they're doing on Raw with Roman Reigns. I'm being screwed because I'm not the champion right now. Even though you keep having matches and Brock keeps beating the shit out of you and pinning you.
Yes.
And now we're supposed to believe that you're getting screwed by me. This is bullshit.
Rey Mysterio Jr. and Conan versus Kurt Hennig and Bobby Duncum.
This was good. You know what this was? Yeah. This was Dusty Rhodes in a tag team.
Kinda, yeah.
Because Conan cannot do a long singles match.
Well, he
gets
just suck.
blown up and he just can't do a goddamn thing. So here, Ray gets in there and they get the heat on Ray, and then they give the hot tag to Conan. All he has to do is his comeback.
Yeah.
And he's been standing on the apron for 10 minutes. So this fucking guy gets the hot tag and he is sprinting. I've never seen Conan move so fast. Place is fucking going out of their mind because all they wanted was wrestling.
Yes.
Do you understand? I say this every week, but it's Conan and Ray versus Hennig and Bobby Duncombe Jr. They just want to see some fucking wrestling. He goes crazy, and then Duncan, it's a bell shot for the DQ, which, you know what, was fine.
Yes.
Because this is the beginning of something.
Yes, this is a key. Because I from the get-go, as soon as that DQ was called for, it's clear this is going to be the start of a long-term thing. Usually, when we bitch about DQs, it's because there's a random match where it doesn't matter who wins, but they still do a DQ, and it leads to nothing anyway. This DQ will set up Chapter 2 next week.
Yes.
Great. That's all they want.
This is where I noticed that in the massive Houston Astrodome, there were a lot of empty chairs.
Well, yeah.
Lots. and
Well, yeah,
lots.
but they still sold 12,000 tickets,
That's a
which is more than Raw did. But still, in that building, not very good.
No, I'm sure they booked the building when they were drawing a lot better, and the audiences decreased over the last 3 months.
It's been a while.
So yes, Brian said this, but I'm going to echo it. Ray and Conan are a great team because Ray is awesome doing anything, and being the hot tag guy emphasizes all of Conan's strengths and hides all his weaknesses.
Yeah.
So, great.
There you go.
Savage comes out for a promo. He says he had...
Bischoff is now on commentary.
Yes.
It's very important. for what's
Bischoff
about
is
to
now
come.
on commentary, and he's talking right over Savage's promo with his own jokes, and I hated him immediately. Like, he was worse being a quote-unquote babyface announcer here and more annoying than he was as NWO President Eric Bischoff on commentary for months.
I don't like when guys talk over guys talking in the ring, but I will say that when Savage is doing his promo, where he's making gay jokes about Kevin Nash,
Yeah.
very cutting-edge promo, Medusa runs down to the ring.
Oh boy, did she.
And, I mean, there's...
Needed more tape.
Dude,
Black
not
eye.
just tape, but I mean... Anyway,
Black eyes and bruised knees. That's all I
Eric
say.
Bischoff just says, "Easy there, Medusa."
That was awesome.
It was perfect timing.
Yes, it was.
There's nothing else you can even say.
Yeah.
What was she thinking?
I don't know, especially because she changed outfits later in the show.
I guess she was thinking it was the Attitude Era.
Yeah. So she says something to Nash, and
She says, and I quote,
oh yeah,
Big Sexy is here.
Yeah.
Not Kevin Nash,
Right.
not Nash.
Big
Their
Sexy.
hated enemy,
Yeah.
Big Sexy,
Yes.
is here.
I'm sure Nash gave her that line.
So Savage is happy to hear this. He calls out Nash, and then they leave. So what I wrote here in this first part is technically true about what happened next. What is technically true is Kenyon was laid out backstage, and Paige and Bigelow were tending to him.
Sure.
Now, they were doing a poor job of this. They were half-assing it. Their heart wasn't all the way in it. They were like, might be alive.
Yeah,
God
what are you
damn,
going to
he's,
do?
I don't
he's
know.
down.
Yeah.
Shit.
What are you going to do?
Well, they'd beaten him up.
Of course.
Yeah.
But it was funny.
Yeah.
So they walked out. But playing into the bigger part, we assume they beat him up.
Yeah, we never
There
saw
are no
them.
witnesses to this beating.
Yeah, they just presumed a cameraman was going to come by and they could make some jokes.
And a fan holding up an Owen Hart sign. This is, of course, 8 days after Owen died. And the announcers acknowledged the sign, and Bischoff wished the best to Brett and the rest of the family. Eric Watts versus David Flair.
Oh, my God. Well, first off, Tori's outfit.
Oh, my.
Yes.
Better than last week.
Yes.
Yes.
Didn't think that was possible.
This show is a historically great show, purely for Tori Wilson and the all-white bell-bottom catsuit she was wearing.
Yeah.
This was amazing. Did you catch in here, by the way, when the storyline is David Flair sucks? And that is the word they used.
Right.
This guy sucks.
Absolutely sucks.
Did you catch when Bischoff said, I'm sure he's a nice guy? Like,
Been hearing that a lot lately.
twice in 2 weeks that's come up.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm sure he is a nice guy, but he does fucking suck.
He's
And you know
horrible.
what's amazing about it? They're having a horrible match. It's fucking Death TV. It's Eric Watts. Okay, this is
If you thought Van Hammer was a lousy veteran to carry a guy through a match.
the irony of Eric Watts versus David Flair. And they're even pointing that out on commentary.
Well, I'll take it a step further. They're critiquing Eric Watts. Bischoff is talking about the bad old days, the reign of terror of Bill Watts, who pushed Eric Watts to the moon.
Yep.
And the storyline is now Flair's doing the same thing with David. And then Eric mentions, I got a son named Garrett who'd probably be a pretty good wrestler. I thought, oh my God. This is
It
what
happened.
Yes.
Aces and eights, baby.
They started it here.
Anyway, so they're having this terrible match. Bischoff is burying David. He says he sucks. He needs to train. He needs to work out. He shouldn't be in the ring. And he's in the ring.
Right.
Okay. So, listen, everybody. The idea that the son of the promoter sucks, but he gets pushed down everybody's throat on television, is a story as old as time.
Absolutely.
Everybody hates it, and it sucks. So they're doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The storyline is we are presenting you with a shitty storyline.
We are designing something that everybody hates.
Mm-hmm.
I guess for heat. I don't know what the fucking payoff is.
No. Keep in mind, Bischoff for weeks now has been telling us he's going to turn this company around by putting on a storyline that in storyline sucks.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of like a great example, but this
You
is
will
the best
never
example.
find another parallel in
There's
another business.
there's nothing better than this. They are making a storyline about how the guy in charge's son sucks, and he's in there having matches, and he actually sucks. It's not like you're pretending he sucks, but he's actually good. You know what I mean? He totally,
He totally
fucking sucks.
I like when Eric is ramming David's head into the turnbuckle, and David's arms are at his sides, his face is blank. You know those birds that
Yes.
you put on the desktop? They kind of go like this, back and forth. That's David going in the turnbuckle, bending at the waist, like this, over and over again. It's poor. It is poorly done pro wrestling.
The comedy is you have one of the greatest wrestlers in the entire world, and his kid is in the ring.
Yeah, put Flair in again. I don't
he's-
want Flair to pass the torch.
He's so bad. What do you think happens when they go back through the curtain?
That's a fine question.
Hey, all I know is this. Arn hits the ring, gives Eric the spine buster, David gets the pin. They've dropped the taking a dive storyline.
Okay.
That's one positive.
Sure.
Sure.
Okay? That's all. That is Captain Glass half full here. That's all I could get out of this.
I also like Eric Bischoff, who suddenly is Mr. Continuity Editor, who has to make references to Arn and Eric having a brawl at a gas station a decade ago. Because they did. I'll be honest, I was expecting worse than we got out of this match. This was not the worst match I ever saw. Buff is meeting with Flair backstage. He wants a match.
This was awesome.
He wants a match with Macho Randy Savage.
Yes.
Flair says, "Listen, Buff, I like you, but you're not in Macho's
You seem
league.
like a nice guy.
You seem like you did say here, yeah. You're not in Macho's league. And if you go out there and get murdered, I'll look bad." So he offers a match against Bobby Eaton instead. Buff is stunned to learn Bobby Eaton still works for the company.
Yeah.
Everyone's-
Flair's like everybody does.
Everyone's on the payroll.
He complained about working with Bobby Eaton.
It's Buff Bagwell. He probably did complain about working with Bobby Eaton.
Well, this is Bobby Eaton.
It was not the Bobby Eaton of 1988.
No.
I don't think
still.
he'd worked in years, probably. And he was out of shape, and he got super tired.
Still had that punch, baby.
So Buff finally accepts the match, but he warns Eaton's going to get hurt. Ernest Miller comes out for a promo.
I'm done with this. I am just done with this. This is stupid.
So Cat is sick of Scott Norton running out in his matches. He calls out Norton. Norton obliges. They're doing this match. Norton's beating the hell out of him. The other B-teamers are laughing their asses off backstage. Then Cat pulls out a crowbar, hits Norton, pins him. Things go silent in the B-teamers' locker room. They determine when Norton returns, he's going to be pissed, and they don't want to be there, and they all pack up and get the hell out of Dodge.
Yeah, I was so angry when Shaq came out with his bullshit and Scott Norton started coming through the curtain. I'm like, dude, this is the fourth fucking time. But they actually did something different. Unfortunately, they're going to have to wrestle more. The feud now has just begun.
Savage came back out with his women this time. He demanded Nash appear, and Nash's pyro goes off, his music goes off, and out comes some guy dressed up like Nash in a dress and heels. And Savage makes about 8 different lines about how this guy's in the closet. So, Randy Savage versus...
Bischoff flat out called the guy a transvestite.
Yes.
Not mincing words.
Yes. I think I missed some of the finishes in the show. But anyway, the women do all the wrestling. Miss Madness, which is Molly Holly, does the top rope Rana. And Medusa's out there throwing kicks. And even Gorgeous George does the big elbow. And finally, Randy does the big elbow and wins in a move that I thought was banned. But
The
apparently
outlawed
not.
flying elbow was the finish of this match.
Yeah.
Yeah. Technically, Vinny, it is a top rope diving Frankensteiner. I believe a
That's
Hurricane
true.
Rana ends in a
She did not cradle him.
cradle.
There's
yes.
no roll up.
I apologize to Molly Holly for screwing up
Yes.
this move there.
Yes.
Buff Bagwell versus Bobby Eaton. Bischoff is going off on a rant about Jesse Ventura. Christ knows why. I don't know what's going on 19 years ago in Jesse's life, and I don't care. Bobby Eaton is out here taking backdrops on the floor in this match. Why?
Because he's Bobby Eaton, dude.
He did some stuff, and Buff hit the blockbuster for the win. This was pointless. Saturn comes out, says Raven and Kenya are in the hospital. I guarantee you can't beat me. I challenge you guys to a handicap match for the tag titles. So it's Saturn by himself versus Page and Bigelow. It goes way too long.
How long did they beat on Saturn?
How long did he beat on them? It was just
Well-
too long by the time they got the heat.
Yeah, but then they got the heat for like an hour.
They did.
They're just beating on this guy, beating on this guy, beating on this guy. Makes his comeback. It's a DVD. DDP doesn't kick out, but they call it a 2. It actually got a huge pop. I don't know what the hell went wrong there.
I think Bam Bam was supposed to break it up.
But he's just standing outside.
Yeah.
Just chilling
I don't
out.
know. That's my guess. So he hits Bam Bam with a DVD, and then here comes Canyon, running down the aisle, demanding to be tagged in. And Saturn crawls and dives and tags in Canyon, and Canyon's a house of fire, and Page punches him in the face and pins him. There's new tag team champions.
That quick.
Canyon's selling like death. The announcers, clueless, are saying Canyon never should have left this hospital.
But
He's
then,
clearly in no condition to fight.
but then Eric says, "God, you know what he got on the apron though? He looked great."
So, okay, you've kind of confirmed here. I've forgotten. It was obvious to everyone that Canyon was in on this, right?
I don't know if it was or not.
Time.
I don't know if it was at the time.
Okay.
It was abundant to me, and I didn't remember how the whole thing went down, but just watching the show, like, it was very easy for me to piece together. I don't know about everybody else.
So Savage and his women get into a limo. They're about to leave. A truck zooms in and blocks their path. And they had cameras in the limo. You can see all these giant vehicles zooming around backstage in the arena. So the first truck blocks their path, and then a septic truck zooms in out of nowhere and comes in alongside them and blocks them that
Yeah,
way.
I love the way they shot this. It was so fucking dumb.
Yep.
Well,
Like, they're in the car, and then one of them goes, "Oh my God, what is that?" And they cut to a shot of the one truck zooming in to cut him off. But, like, in the vehicle's in motion.
Right.
But when the truck drives in front,
yes.
it stopped.
yes.
I'm like, what?
It was
Then the
not
other one
edited well.
zooms in next to it, and they're like, you can't back up?
Yeah. Apparently limos don't have a reverse gear.
Yeah, they're trapped.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, okay, so you're in a car. You know what a car is? We got that clear?
I've got
Familiar.
one.
All right, so something zooms in front of the car.
Sure.
Okay.
I follow you.
All right. Do you really have to park something next to the car?
Well,
You're concerned the car may go sideways? You don't have anything behind
see
the
your
car.
point.
You know what I mean?
Now I see your point.
They weren't
yes.
like blocked in so they couldn't get out. They got out.
Well, Savage is in pretty good shape. He probably could move it.
The issue is like the car is not going to go sideways.
Sure.
It's going to go front or it's going to go back. Instead, this fucking Nash blocks it off in the front and blocks it off on the side.
Right.
and leaves the back open, which no one seemed to realize. So Nash jumps out and he undoes a hose from the septic tank and he pours the contents through in the limo, and there's all kinds of screaming and hollering, and it's done. And then Nash says, "Let's get out of here." And he and his buddies jump in the septic truck and take off.
Well, let's not
What a hero.
gloss over the fact that he's on top of the car and the sewage is being poured in through the sunroof.
Sure.
Okay? Well, when the deed is done, now Kevin Nash needs to get off the car.
This is a feat.
It's covered in sewage. He's 7 feet tall. He's had like
knees.
12 knee surgeries. This was the scariest thing I've ever seen. He did manage to pull it off, but I was sure that he was going to kill himself.
This is where I wrote, this is an S show.
I wrote, I can't believe this company died.
They get out of the car. They're covered in sewage. It goes on way too long.
A
It
dry
sucked.
heave.
I did love, there was one awesome thing They're
I can't
covered
believe
in.
you're saying this.
They're covered in. It's so bad. It's so stupid. But they're covered in sewage. They're all screaming. Savage acting like he's gonna vomit. And Medusa turns to Miss Madness and just says, "Your sash." That was funny.
Glad you picked
And
that
I
up.
don't even think it was supposed to be.
Oh, God. Sting and Rick Steiner in a
Ah,
cage match.
fuck it, who cares? Just
They didn't. I'll tell you that much.
They had a shitty match.
This was Sting and Rick Steiner giving 0%.
Gee, I wonder why. Tank Abbott, who is feuding with Rick Steiner on Thursday, is a special guest referee. He helps Rick Steiner win, and they're in cahoots.
Yeah.
What?
I don't know.
Fuck you, WCW. You suck. I'm sick of this show.
Except you're
This
wrong.
show's terrible.
You're wrong about one thing.
No, I'm not.
Yeah. Rick didn't win. There was no finish.
Oh!
There was no finish.
Yeah, this show can die. Oh, it did.
It did. Well, let's do this finishers report.
Fuck.
There's a couple of pins I'm missing here. I missed the Savage pin. I think I missed Buff too. But regardless, the
Just
finishes.
use that.
The finishes on this show were DQ in a hardcore match, clean pin, DQ in a tag match, but at least it's going somewhere. Pin after interference, pin after hitting dude with a crowbar, and a non-finish in the shoot cage match main event.
Yeah. Hitting a guy with a crowbar. Hitting a crowbar with a crowbar.
Aha.
What a bad main event. But the show was okay.
That's fair.
Yeah.
The main event just left me in such a pissed off mood. It was so bad.